Hello, everybody. It's me, Nate, aka Devil Dog, and I'm back with another game review. That's right, even though I'm working hard to get my movie made, I still have time to do some game reviews. And here it is. This is my review of Lies of P. It was developed by Round 8 Studios and NeoWiz Games and published by NeoWiz Games and released on September 19th of 2023 on the PlayStation 4 and 5, the Xbox One, Series X and S, and PC. And what exactly is this game? Well, it's kind of obvious. It's another Souls-like title where you play as a humanoid Pinocchio traveling through the city of Krat. And it's a city that is in complete turmoil, that is in dire straits due to all the anonymous automatons going crazy and killing all their human hosts and taking over the world, basically from the puppet master. Now, like I said, they're all going haywire and killing just about everyone. And as for gameplay, you use swords, axes, and your robot arm and other stuff to attack, also while being able to do your standard issue block and dodge. Now, keep in mind when I say block, I mean block or dodge, because a lot of times these enemies will have unblockable attacks, and the only real way to handle them is to dodge them and memorize all their patterns. Now, it does have a pretty neat crafting system in it, too, that allows you to equip your arm with all kinds of sorts of neat gadgets that help you fight through the game. Everything from grappling hooks, bombs, flamethrowers, and more. Honestly, I was quite impressed with the sheer amount of versatility you can have with this game in terms of the crafting. Now, as for weapons, they're around, I think, give or take about 30, and each one can be modified in multiple ways, to where you can have about 100 different combinations for the weapons. So it does allow you to mix and match and build your character a certain way if you want to play a certain style. And there are certain builds in the game. Like if you look online, there's certain builds and stuff you can do to make the game easier for you or harder. Now, the other thing is why exactly is this called Lies of P? Well, because you play as Pinocchio, and we all know in the old story, Pinocchio used to lie and his nose would grow. In this one, his nose don't grow. Oddly enough, the loading screen does have a little Pinocchio character with his nose growing, which I think is kind of funny. But the main reason is, on top of all the other Souls-like gameplay in this, with the epic boss battles that you have to memorize and the constant respawning enemies, it does have a lying system in it. And during certain cutscenes and choices, conversations, you can choose to lie if you want to, and by doing this it will actually change a lot of the game. It'll change like the bosses, certain like strengths of them, weaknesses, certain areas, and the enemies behave differently as well, and of course people act differently to you as well. And it also affects the endings, which there are 3 different endings in this game. Now, when you first boot up the game and start and go through the little options menu of like tweaking the graphics and stuff like that, you get to pick between 3 different fighting styles. Keep in mind, this is where I made a mistake when I was playing through and I picked like the big heavy sword. I probably should have went differently with it, because I think it made the game a lot harder. While you had a lot more power behind the swings, but it was so much slower. And it wasn't until I went and played again and picked a different, quote, stance at the beginning, it made the game a little bit more playable for me, but that was just me. After all, I'm going to be honest, I've never really been good with Souls-like titles, but I do understand them and like them. Now, as for gameplay, like I said, it's a Souls-like. Basically, you go through these maze-like areas. Most of them are interconnected areas and shortcuts. Once you get so far through them, there'll be a gate you can open that'll allow you easy passage back through. And if you die, which you will die a lot, none of that resets, thank goodness. But much like a Souls-like, you lose your power that'll stay where the enemy killed you, and you'll have to get back to that location to gather your power. And if you die more than once, each time you go back, you lose more and more power. So it's really kind of essential if you die to get back there and get your power immediately, or you lose a good amount of it. And you have different little items that you can use, like your little healing needle is what I'm going to call it, where you inject yourself to get your life back. You have to worry about your blade breaking, but the trick around that is you have a sharpening stone that you can use, and just make sure no enemies are attacking you and select the sharpening stone, and you can get your blade back to normal. A bunch of different items you can get as well, including like bombs, like fire bombs, electricity bombs, acid bombs. You can also purchase these optional grinding stones that will apply certain attributes and buffs to your sword and weapons as well. It is a limited time deal though, so once you use it, it doesn't last long. So you have to be very strategic in order to use it the right time during like a boss battle or something, because the bosses in this are very difficult. After all, it is a Souls-like title. So whenever you fight any of these bosses or the hidden bosses that you can go out and find, keep in mind, normally they'll be like their equivalent of a bonfire. It's like this weird electronic doohickey you build that is the save point that acts like to give you your life back, give you your refill on your health back, and pretty much you already know this. That's also where you go to upgrade your character with the blue orbs that you collect by killing enemies and finding it throughout your adventure. Once you use that, naturally all previous enemies that were killed come back. So you can use that to farm, which I did because I found early on it was much easier to go around and farm the low level enemies in order to level up my character enough to make it to where it wasn't really that difficult later on, especially if you learn the proper builds with your equipment, especially your swords, your axes, and your little gadgets for your arm. If you do it right, it's actually still super challenging because, like I said, you have to memorize each and every single move from the bosses and stuff like that. Because I've had some one-shot kill you, seriously, and when you die, you lose everything, and you go back to your last save that you were at. Now, one thing that is fortunate, if you die at a boss and you lose your orbs, they will appear out front before you enter the boss arena, so you can gather them back. So that's kind of nice. They're like a little bit of a pity toss, give you some of your health back. Like I said, I found the best trick in this is to actually go around and just grind the enemies. You go around the area, kill all the enemies, go and recharge your power and reset the enemies, and keep doing that, rinse and repeat until you have enough orbs that you can use to buy upgraded weapons to tweak your character and also upgrade your stats. And honestly, it's not the hardest Souls-like game I've played, but it is up there. It's definitely a difficult game. And while I like the mechanic behind the lying feature, I don't think it's implemented enough. I really don't. Now, keep in mind, this game is pretty long. It'll take you about 20 to 30 hours to go through it on a regular, speed. And it'll be 50 plus hours easy if you want to do all the stuff, because it's got some decent side stuff in it. It's got some puzzles, riddles, other stuff you can do to unlock some pretty cool stuff in it. And honestly, for the overall size of the game, the price seems to be the same on every system. It is $59.99 on every single system. I didn't notice that it was more expensive on the PS5 version. I ended up playing it on the PS4 version because, well, that was just the one that was sent to me. I mean, I'll take what I got. Like I say, if someone sends me a game, I'll review it, even if it's friggin' Paw Patrol. But honestly, in the end, I would have to say I like Liza P. The level designs aren't really too archaic. They're not too labyrinth-like. It's a vibrant, pretty nice open world area that leads you through it with multiple paths that connect with shortcuts. The enemy designs are really, really cool. I like the character designs. I like the boss designs too. They're really cool. And honestly, it's got this really cool, gritty, gothic style to it. And in the end, if you are a fan of a Souls-like title, this is actually one of the better ones. It's really not a super massive difficult one like some of the other ones, but it still will kick you in the teeth repeatedly over and over. But I found myself going back to it because it's actually a fun, well-playing game that seems to be fairly decently balanced. I mean, like I said, you can make some builds with your character that are just OP, where you can just slaughter through the enemies. That's what I ended up doing to help me beat the game, because honestly, certain handles of your swords and stuff like that add stat boosts and stuff like that. Honestly, overall, I actually was impressed with this. I didn't really know what to expect. The teaser trailer they show doesn't do it justice. It doesn't make you really know what the hell the game even is. So honestly, if you are a fan of Souls-like games and you don't mind punishing, crushing, brutal difficulty and memorization and pretty much farming, I could actually say pick up Liza P. It was surprisingly a lot better than I expected, though, like I said, I wish they would have had more aspects of the lying feature in it, and maybe actually have something where Pinocchio's nose turns bigger or something when he's lying. I kind of wish they would have done more with that, but nonetheless, for what it is, I thought it was a fantastic game, and for the overall size and the amount of content you get with it, and the boss battles, and the extra features that unlock once you beat it, I can definitely recommend Liza P. Well, this was Nate, aka Devil Dog, and I want to thank each and every single one of you for watching this review. Please give me a thumbs up if you like this video, subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, and leave lots of comments below, and I'll try to answer each and every single one of them. And here at Devil Dog Gaming, we always end our videos by saying, have fun, play hard, and remember, people, the devil is in the details. Peace out until next time.